Good morning, Rogersville. Welcome to the Grumpy Old Man edition. All the happy people are gone. It's just me and Tom to sit here and complain about our week. So
yeah, no,
it's been a good week.
I've been busy for the last 4 to 6 weeks. Crazy busy, but now I have to edit all of it, and so it's a little monotonous for me, but it'll be all right.
Well, you know, we've had this conversation before about how, you know, we could do some, you know, scripted, produced shows for K-ROG, but it's so much easier to just hit go live and do a show.
Oh, yeah, it's fun.
It's way easier.
It's the anticipation and the excitement of all of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, so anyway, that's what I always just hit go live and see what happens.
It's kind of like cooking pasta, you know, you throw it up on the wall and see what sticks, right?
Man, Ballard is already up and throwing punches. I'm not sick. I don't need the sick shaming. Just lost my voice.
You know what? You're going to get sick shamed today.
It's the prima donna pastor syndrome, I think, is what we're dealing with here now. We're sorry that you lost your voice, Chris, and we know your voice is important.
If you weren't screaming at the congregation on Sunday.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I don't know.
Maybe it's the soccer matches.
I was deer hunting.
Maybe it's that.
I watched the online version of it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's good. The live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
get better, Chris.
Yeah.
Your flock needs you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. One thing I did want to mention today is I start things and they turn into things I don't intend. Right. Like this.
What?
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm just going to say this like it is. Wandering around Rogersville, my hometown, with my people, I was seeing a lot of T-shirts from a lawyer that doesn't care about Rogersville. I mean, just indifferent. You know, this town doesn't mean anything to that lawyer. It means something to me.
Right.
I thought I want people in my town wearing my T-shirts. And so I had a bunch of We Are LR shirts printed up like this. They're very snazzy.
Here, you need to take your flannel off.
It's right there. You see it. Okay.
You can't even see that. Here.
It's okay.
Take it up. To stand up. That looks good. I like it.
So Kix made these for me.
That looks good.
So Kix made them for me. And I started just giving them away. They do have my law firm on the back, you know. But they're free. And so what happened was I gave a box of them away at the Harvest Fest, and then I got another box. And I'm like, well, I don't have anywhere to give them out. I mean, there's no events coming up until Christmas. You know, we may do something, maybe throw them out at the Christmas parade or something like that. But I thought, well, why don't you give them away? So I asked them down at Storytime, I said, can I just put some shirts here? Just give them away, just free T-shirts. And they're like, yeah, sure. I'll move my chair. And so I put them there, and I put a little post on there, and it was okay. And then I put it on Rogersville Residence last night. And people were like, oh, where do I get these? I'll order some. Save me some. And I'm like, okay. Well, so here's what we're going to do is I'm going to drop these shirts at different businesses around town.
Right.
So you have to go there to get them. If they don't have your size, don't take a size that's not yours. Leave it there for somebody else, and just look for the next drop.
Right.
Right? And I'll post on my law firm page where they're going to be, and then a few hours later, maybe the next day, I'll post it a little more broadly.
That's cool.
So if you want to know where the shirts are, if you want to get a shirt, just follow Worsham Law Firm on Facebook, and you'll get a little heads up of where the free LR T-shirts are going to be. So there you go.
Those are nice.
Free T-shirts.
They look really good.
I think they do look good.
They look like they're comfy too.
They're
the
soft ones.
They're the soft kind.
Kix doesn't sell, junk. So we got good stuff from him there. But Sharon,
I saw him the other night.
Sharon says that Chris was yelling too much at the soccer game. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured it probably was.
Oh, okay.
Yep. You saw Kix?
I saw Kix. Was it Sunday night? Yeah, Sunday night. Thanksgiving night. Halloween night.
Reformation Day.
Yeah, Reformation Day. Yeah, Kix was cruising the kiddos around Leebrook.
Yeah, that's good. They were.
Saw a bunch of people. I mean, it was packed.
Well,
absolutely packed.
And our Halloween was actually very uneventful. We didn't really even think about it being Halloween from that perspective because Jack's birthday is the 29th of October, So that was Friday, and then we have we started a tradition, kind of letting the boys have an annual bonfire, which has kind of turned into Jack's birthday party at this point. So he had a bonfire on Saturday night, and I made a bunch of turkey legs. I'll have to tell you the story of the turkey legs.
The story of the turkey legs.
There was a minor epic adventure in acquiring the turkey legs. Sunday we kind of went to church, cleaned up from the party, and took a nap. That was kind of our Halloween. Oh, and watched Murder on the Orient Express. Have you seen the new one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, they did a really good job on it.
Yeah, and did you know they're coming out with a sequel?
Yeah.
Yeah, February 22 should be Death on the Nile. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Death on the Nile is coming out in February.
And that's an actual book.
Yeah, well, so is Murder on the
Yeah.
Express. Yeah. They're all. It's another Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie novel there. But no, Jack went to the FFA National Convention, so he was gone all week. And at some point, I got the wild hair that I'm like, I want to do turkey legs for his bonfire. I mean, he'll be like a hero, Kids come over, they get a turkey leg, smoked turkey leg. And I got on Sam's, and I went to Costco. I'm like, you can't buy bulk turkey legs anywhere like that. And I got to doing some other research, and I finally found a place in Houston, Texas, but they wouldn't ship them. You had to go to get them in Texas. And I'm like, well, I can't go to
How many turkey legs were you doing?
Well, I ended up with 60 pounds, which was about 20 some odd turkey legs.
Wow.
And so I was at Coffee at the Post Thursday morning, and Kevin Lane was there. And if you know Kevin, he's a private chef, and he's got some connections. And I asked him, I said, where do you think, is there any way I could get these, some bunch of turkey legs? And he's like, well, let me check. And he got a hold of his friends, one of his friends that owns Salvatore's restaurant. Mm-hmm. I think it's in Ozark or Nixa. And that guy was nice enough. He put an order in for some at Springfield Wholesale Grocer. And I just went to the will call, and I just said, hey, I'm here for an order for Salvatore's restaurant.
Of course you went to the will call.
Yeah. Very funny. As I was instructed, and I got 60 pounds of frozen turkey legs. And then I went home and I brined them, and I put them in the smoker, and then finished them off on the Weber. Because anything that's got chicken, any poultry that's got skin, if you just smoke it, you're going to get rubbery skin.
Get rubber skin.
Yeah. And so you got to finish it off in either a hot oven like at 450, or I just did these because they were small enough, although they were ginormous. On the Weber kettle, and we had smoked turkey legs.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. I think I maybe had a picture of them. No, that was from last week.
Me and Samuel went to youth hunt up in near Rolla, Missouri this weekend, and he came back with nothing. But I'll take that back. He came back with a good story.
Yeah, that's
so
wow.
his first. His first real encounter, so he uses a Ruger Mini 14 because he is left eye dominant, which is, if you don't know what left eye dominant is, it means that you're right-handed, but you use your left eye to aim with. And so we've tried to correct it, but...
Well, you could be left eye dominant and left-handed.
Yes.
Yeah,
most people are
the same.
Yeah. But both of my kids happen to be the opposite. So anyways, we got got him the gun. You can shoot either way with it. Anyways, he gets up there with Rick, who owns the cabin. They get up in deer stand, and on Saturday night they had a really big doe come out, and the gun clicked twice, and then the deer ran off. And come to find out what it was is when you pull back on the Mini 14, you have to let it. You got to let it slap and
let
engage.
it go. Yeah,
and it wasn't engaging the firing pin enough. So
that's a 223, right?
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, that's too bad.
So he's going up next week.
Of course,
we're gonna.
We've got the stand and the camo and the rifles and the ammo, and we sighted them in and have not even gone out once this year. So I don't know when we'll go.
It's cold.
It is
cold this year.
Well, it was hot, and then it was cold.
Super hot, then it was cold. Now it's wet. Now it's wet and cold, and next week it might be wet and snowy.
Really?
You never know.
And then I'm going to go to the desert for a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be hot.
You'll be like out in...
It'll be hot. 100-degree weather.
Like the hottest place in the world.
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty hot. Pretty hot over there. So anyway, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing the expo and
that'll be neat.
Groovy stuff they got going on in that part of the country. World.
Maybe you'll run into like somebody famous over there.
Maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of famous people that I would assume go to that.
Yeah, well, you would think. That's it's like 6 months long. So.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it runs through the spring.
And it's at that same place all the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in Dubai.
Wow.
And they've got these pavilions set up, and I have not done a lot of research to really understand what's going on. But you know what surprised me is I was talking to people about, hey, I'm going to the World Expo. The people that go, what's the World Expo? I'm like, it's because I'm old, I guess. But I mean, the World Expo, we've had them for centuries. Mm-hmm. I don't remember when the first one was, but there was one in St. Louis. They used to call them the World's Fair. There was one in Montreal, which is why their baseball team was called the Expos, before they became the Washington Nationals. But so I think the best way for people to explain it is it's the Stark Expo.
Yeah.
It's kind of
and there was an old movie called It Happened at the World's Fair, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
There was an old... Actually, one of the Elvis movies was at the World's Fair or something like that.
There you go.
So, yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. But, all kinds of interesting things were introduced at World's Fairs. I believe ice cream was first rolled out at a World's Fair.
Yeah, and I think the ice cream cone was
maybe that was
rolled
it.
out.
Maybe that was what it was, yeah. But I don't know. We're going to see what they got going on over there. But it's supposed to have lots of cool technology and food, and I don't know what all, but
that's pretty cool.
I'm expecting lots of propaganda as well.
Oh my gosh!
And I've been lectured to be on my best behavior so that they let me come back. They don't keep me.
Let's keep him over here.
I'm over there.
Let's keep this, and we'll study him.
Yeah,
we'll poke his brain. Let's study him a little bit.
I don't know what else is going on.
Oh, I've been reading up on the whole like Alec Baldwin shooting the cinematographer.
Well, isn't that an interesting little turn of events?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So what have you researched so far on that?
Just kind of what went down and then how the blame is being shifted now. That's been very interesting to see how.
I think we can have a great discussion on this because you obviously filmmaker, have been on a lot of sets, know how that's supposed to go. I'm a lawyer, former prosecutor. I have a federal firearms license, so together we maybe have some completely relevant Monday morning quarterbacking to do on what happened.
No, I mean, I would say from Alec Baldwin's side, he's a producer. Basically what happened is they were running a scene, supposedly, and the cinematographer was standing there behind the camera. They weren't rolling. The director was standing behind her, and there was a scene that Alec Baldwin was kind of rehearsing, and he pulled his gun out, and he aimed it. And I assume he aimed it at the cinematographer, which you're not supposed to do. You're supposed to aim off to the side. and anyways, he aimed this gun and fired it. The bullet went through her and hit the director in the shoulder, I think. It went through her sternum and went out the back. And her last words were, "I can't feel my legs." So that is kind of what went down supposedly there's been things that he was told the gun was cold, which means that there are no live rounds in. That's been a little bit of a mistake on all sides, but a cold gun means this is
safe.
It has nothing in it. It doesn't have a blank in it or a live round. It doesn't have anything in it.
Because blanks are dangerous.
Yeah, and they use two different types. So, like the Brandon Lee story, right? So there are some angles, like if the camera is in front and the gun is pointing at the camera, like this, you can still see the bullets inside of like a
revolver,
of the revolver. So what they use is they use bullets that have no primer and no powder in it, but it's got the lead ball in it. In the Brandon Lee case, one of the primers was in one of those bullets, and the guy pulled the trigger, and the bullet went into the barrel.
Right.
Then they took that same gun, and they put blanks into it.
Which has powder or primer, but no bullet.
Right. And when he fired, that bullet came out of the gun and hit Brandon Lee.
Killed him.
From the Crow. So, but this one, supposedly, they had live rounds on set. Because they were shooting cans out back. And supposedly the story that came out last night was it was Alec Baldwin that was out shooting cans.
Oh, that's new information.
And supposedly he bought the rounds.
Well,
so there's a couple different ways, though. There's the burden of responsibility that's there. But then there's also the nefarious side that if that did happen, who's...
Well, there's so much swirling around this. I mean, it's crazy. I have questions. But, one is, and I don't know where to start, but so if the scene did the scene call for him to be pointing and firing the firearm at the camera? Because if it didn't, he never should have had the gun pointed at anything, loaded or not.
Right.
I mean, basic firearm safety says you never point a firearm at anything you don't want to destroy, regardless of whether it's loaded or not. The other issue would be, and this is probably a Hollywood thing, I don't know, but you should, if you have a firearm, you should check it yourself, regardless of what anybody tells you.
Right. Well, and there was one account that I guess the gun wrangler, or the armorer, I guess is what they call
that's what I heard.
They approached him. This is one of the early stories. They approached him with the gun and they said, do you have any experience with these? And he goes, a little bit.
The armorer said a little bit?
No. Alec Baldwin said he has a little bit.
A little bit.
And I'm like, of all the movies that you've been in,
yes,
you have a little bit of experience. You've never gone through any kind of gun training.
Except that he may have been out the night before shooting.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if was that the scene? Should he have been pointing it at the camera? Should he have been pulling the trigger? Obviously, we should have checked the firearm to see what kind of rounds it had in it, and it could have had those.
He would have been better off to aim it at the camera instead of aim it at the cinematographer.
Absolutely.
He would be in better shape right now if he'd aimed it at the cameraman or the camera. And
now you've got all of this. She was married to a lawyer that was working for the Clintons, is one of the stories that's out there. Oh, yeah. That's one of the stories. There's another story that said she was working on a documentary about the Hollywood
human trafficking.
And so there's this other theory that says, she was murdered.
So that's rabbit hole stuff.
That's rabbit hole stuff. Except the rabbit holes are running right on top of the ground these days. With the internet.
Nowadays, you
don't have to look very far to find that stuff. But so there's all that but what's really funny is there's kind of the right wing rabbit holes, which those would be, but the left wing rabbit holes are on CNN. And so you've got the CNN guy that's speculating, says, well, did some Trump supporter sneak the bullets on there to make Alec look bad? Literally right on the CNN account, speculating that. It's like, seriously?
And they won't pull that one off the air.
No. It's like, we think this is a legit, this deserves looking into to see if it was a...
Facebook will fact check that one, I'm sure.
They will not. They did not. Insane what people...
Well, if it was totally innocent on all parts, I think my biggest concern is that Alec Baldwin being a producer, Alec Baldwin also being a responsible and morally superior person to everyone else on the planet, should have damn well checked that gun before he aimed it at someone and pulled the trigger on.
Well, and I think that as this is legal analysis, and I'm not an Arizona lawyer, so I don't know, but somebody came forward and basically with the legal analysis said, you take what you know to be a real firearm and you don't check it and you negligently point it at a real person and negligently pull the trigger. That's called criminal negligence in Arizona, and it could be in Missouri as well.
Yeah.
You're criminally responsible. That's manslaughter.
Yeah.
And
that's why we have kids 16 years old and go through a test before they even get in a car and drive around, because it removes the burden of.
And that's why you get a hunter education card before you get a hunting license and get your deer tags and such things.
So maybe if you didn't want to be responsible for that, you shouldn't be doing films that have guns in them.
Well, you should either know what you're doing or you should not do that. But that's just the hypocrisy of the left and Hollywood and all of that. Is it's okay for them, it's not okay for you. And you know that's.
It's always kind of funny too when you see them. When I say them, you see people that divert blame really quick.
Yeah, and I know he released a statement, and I don't remember. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it, but I know that he talked about it being an accident and a 1 in a million accident and a tragedy. I didn't really detect a lot of blame shifting. I just detected a lot of it's not my fault. It's just an accident.
Yeah,
I didn't hear him blaming it on anyone else. Although I think there's a lot of blame to go around. I think the worst thing he could do, you know, from my perspective, is to just throw somebody else on the bus. I think you look at him and you go, and the best thing he could do is kind of say, you know, it's like I shouldn't have pointed at her. I shouldn't have pulled the trigger, and I'm going to have to live with that. That's my fault. Whatever anybody else did to contribute to that is on them, but this is on me. And if he would do that, he would go a long way, I think. But I don't think he's got the moral.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's sad that kind of stuff happens, but just to be fair, a lot of this is what you run into on low budget films. Is you run into a lot of corners having to be cut, a lot of late nights. I think it was the week before the cinematographer's whole crew had left, so there's a trend.
So she was kind of doing multiple work.
She was running all over, and that stuff happens, and people get very edgy, and they get really ticked off on movie sets. So, I mean, that kind of stuff happens, and that's why that's a big part of like making films is making sure that your budget and your time to get that project done isn't like a mad dash, and people aren't working, 20-hour days and stuff like that. And so it's very complicated. And so that's where I feel for that crew of what they're having to go through, and then what all the work that they probably have put in on that film now. And now it's probably all gone.
Well, that's what Alex said. He said, we're not going to finish this movie. Yeah. It's not going to happen. They said also that armorer had been fired or let go from other movies.
So would the assistant director, first AD.
For safety concerns. And then, of course, Alec Baldwin himself is known for being a very calm, level-headed person, not at all one to throw a fit on an airplane because they asked him to put away his phone, but he wasn't done with his Words with Friends game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's so he has a history of temper tantrum. And so, you speculate in all those things and say, was he mad at the cinematographer and thought it would be funny to point the gun and pull the trigger at her?
Well, and it also brings up another point too, and this is something whenever you're doing anything, you're doing like theater or whatever, at least from my experience, is don't be a diva. Because when you're a diva, the communication is broken down. People don't want to talk to you.
Yes.
People don't want you to make them feel like crap. And so what happens is there might have been Alec could have yelled and screamed at somebody on set, or he could have just been a terror every day on set, and people just got to the point where they just didn't want to confront him about anything. And this is sometimes the result, because not to say they did it that way, but everybody's scared to keep their job and keep getting a paycheck doing that stuff. So,
well, that's a good life lesson, just not to be a diva.
Yeah,
I think
don't be a diva.
I think we all have our diva tendencies. I know I do from time to time. It's like, you can't talk to me that way. And
every film, every project I work on, I always allow myself at least one diva moment, though.
Do you?
Oh, I do.
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
I can have my one. I haven't taken every single one of them. I do a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
I try to keep it under control. Comes out more often than I would like, but that's what it is.
It is what it is.
Well, no Lauren, no Chris.
Wow, we filled it up.
We did pretty good. Not too bad.
Well, do you got well, I guess we've got like a month, and then we get into Thanksgiving, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a mad dash to the end of the month because we've got Christmas parade that happens the first of the month.
Yep. Do you have your Christmas shopping done? Is all your Christmas stuck on containers out in the ocean?
No. A lot of our stuff this year, we have been kind of plotting, and we know where we can get all of it. We don't need to order any of it, and we're going to get it. Well, Mom's already bought. I already got Mom's taken care of.
Yeah,
so
I got
good son.
I got my wife's taken care of. So I was a good husband, but that's already done. It's already stashed away.
I'm still contemplating on Michelle's gift.
I know something that I want to talk about. Just a little tiny bit. I don't want to open it up, but okay. So everybody's putting these "I did this" stickers on the gas pumps. Joe Biden's picture of Biden pointing at the total that you're paying for the gas, and it says "I did this."
Oh, I haven't seen those.
Yeah, so it's like they're like blaming Biden for the increased cost of gas, and then I see people on the internet saying the president doesn't, the price of gas is controlled by supply, demand, taxes. The president does not control any of that, except that this president canceled within his first 30 days all of our domestic oil leases. So under our previous administration, we were domestically producing all of our own gas. We were pumping our own oil. We were refining it locally, and our gas prices reflected that because it was all domestic.
Save the spotted owl. Let's kill our boys overseas.
Yeah, whatever. But this new president that we have now, who I think his name is Brandon, canceled our domestic oil leases, forced us back on dependency for foreign oil. Well, that directly affects the gas price. So I just think there's a very short line of logic that says this president is directly responsible for these high gas prices because of the direct actions he unilaterally took as president without any input from Congress, without any input from anywhere else. So it's the idea that gas prices just naturally fluctuate and this isn't Biden's fault is absolutely ridiculous. He canceled the Keystone Pipeline, which cost thousands of jobs.
Well, I mean, it's no secret that if you voted for Biden, you were more worried about bad tweets than you were about administrations. So it's not like...
Well, not to mention the fact that Biden's son was getting all of his money from a Ukraine oil company. Yeah. I mean, it's just the lines of logic they don't even hide it anymore.
No, they don't care.
Because apparently we're not going to do anything about it.
But you know what? I hate to say it. It's on both sides. It's not just...
To some extent, that's true.
To a large extent now, you're really starting to see who were the ones that were just there to make a buck, which is a large majority.
Almost all of them are just there to make a buck.
Large majority of them.
So some of them we can all make a buck. Some of them they're taking our bucks, and that's the only difference that I see. Is there are some politicians that they're maybe all in it for the wrong reasons, but at least I've still got a chance.
Right.
I've still got a chance to make my own money. They're not saying, we're going to need 50% of all of the unrealized gains that you've made.
I know. Well, it's like I have a little, a PayPal account, and all of a sudden I get an email from them going, hey, you need to re-sign up for this so the IRS can figure out your whole, I'm like, no.
No, I'm not going to do that.
No, I'm not telling you. I'll get rid of my PayPal account.
That's right. We'll do that. Okay, if you want a free T-shirt today, they still have some at Storytime Coffee. These snazzy LR.
I'm going to go down and get
LR shirts.
They'll have one less after I leave.
There will be more around town, so like the Worsham Law Firm page if you want advance notice of where those shirts are going to be.
That's awesome.
Join us this Friday.
Christmas came early.
Yeah, join us this Friday. Phil's going to be here. Cassie's husband is going to be on the show Friday morning.
Okay, cool.
Because Phil's going to fill in for me while I'm in the desert the next week. So he's going to learn how to
nice.
run the show, all this.
It is so much fun.
Fancy equipment. And we'll be back after that.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, Tom.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.